Hi, it's John Cronshaw here with my author diary for the weekend in December the 29th, 2024, the last author diary of the year. About to go into 2025, which I think means we will be getting our jetpacks and moon bases very soon. This week, it's been Christmas, so doing a lot of Christmas stuff. Not much in the way of work. I did get the fourth novella finished in the Ravenglass Throne, and because of the way I'm writing this series, I've basically got to the end of the fourth novella, and it's big climactic scene, blah blah blah. I was thinking, actually, this isn't novellas, is it? This is a novel. I've got a novel here. These four novellas are actually a novel. So I think that'll probably be what it ends up being, rather than this novella series. I think it'll end up being a trilogy. But yeah, that's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think just in terms of structure and things like that, just where it's hitting the beats, it's like that is a novel. Yeah, but that's cool. So I've basically written a novel. Got a really solid draft of a novel, which is amazing. Feels like that came out of nowhere, which is always good. I'm going to carry on anyway with that series in the new year. What is it? Also, because I sent basically the first couple of the novellas to Claire, my editor. So I'll get those back very soon. She said she can, because the novella length, she can just get on them whenever. So I think she's going to do those quite quick turnaround. So I will start posting the chapters of it anyway onto Patreon as soon as they come back. I've also got covers booked for January, 2 covers, so that will be for Blade of Sorrows, which is Guild of Assassins book 3, which I'll also start posting on Patreon soon, and the Ravenglass Throne book 1, which will be 3 novels now by the look of it. So that's cool anyway. Can't really complain, can I? That's got a novel written, but I do, because of the way I write anyway, I tend to structure my novels in kind of 4 sections. I always go for a 4-act structure, so this was basically each novella was an act in this story. It's still more of the kind of that serial pacing with lots of short scenes, cliffhangers, just kind of pacey thriller style, but obviously high fantasy with lots of wyvern riding and magic and things like that. So it's a lot of fun, I have that unexpected. Usually at this time of year I have reflect on how I've done this year, and I feel like I've had a good year in terms of productivity. I feel like I've got a lot done. I feel like even though I've got a lot done, I feel like my author business, as it were, has kind of plateaued a bit. So I'm hoping that next year with these new series, new releases, the fact that I've got 6 releases, are pretty much there already. 7 if you include the Ravenglass Throne now. I've just got to wait for stuff to get back from the editor, really. So I've got the 2 Guild of Assassins novels there with the editor. I've got Punks vs. Zombies, that complete trilogy as well. It's just kind of finding time in Claire's schedule, really, to be able to get those edited and released and all that stuff. What this means is, this next year, I will be doing Patreon first still. Really doubling down on that. I'll be posting stuff months before on the Patreon before it goes anywhere else. It's a really good way to kind of get early access. For example, this week, I've posted a few Christmas stories and things like that, but I've also posted the ebook of The Knight and the Rebel. So that's not out until the end of January for everyone else, but obviously you can get it a month early there. And if you use the promo code Ravenglass, you can basically get it for $2.50, which is insane. That's kind of what I'm doing anyway. So I think, what was it? I've released basically I think 3 novels this year. So that'll be the Fall of Allspain. You know, basically the first 2 books from Ravenglass Legends series and the first in the Guild of Assassins series. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It feels like I've done a lot more just because I've got quite a few books kind of, banked now. Doing the kind of weekly serial thing with Punks vs Zombies, it basically mean I had a trilogy pop up from nowhere, it felt like. So yeah, I just need to get on top of kind of marketing, I think, a bit more next year, because I've been really in productive mode, productivity, producing a lot of writing. But I think that's meant that the marketing hasn't been quite as focused as it can be. And, I basically need to spend a bit more time a day probably on the marketing, which of course means a bit less productivity. It's a really difficult balance because, I do this because I love writing. So, yeah, I mean, really, what I'd like is to be in a position where I can just do the writing and never have to do any marketing. But obviously, we live in this thing called reality, so I need to also run it as a business. So yeah, so next year, I've been thinking about my kind of plans, and I really want to get the Ravenglass Throne trilogy, as it'll be now. I want to get that done. And I think if I keep doing this thing of like tricking myself into going, oh, it's actually novellas, and doing a novella a week, then there's no reason why I shouldn't have a draft of this by the end of February. So that would be cool. I've also got a book launch though at the end of January with the Night in the Rebel, so that'll take a bit of my time. I've also got what is it? I think the first act done of Scoundrels, which is a Dawn of Assassins prequel thing. I really want to get that done, at least one novel in that. I've got 3 planned. It's the same characters as Dawn of Assassins. Basically because I feel like I made the mistake with marketing my Dawn of Assassins books. I don't feel like it was really assassin fantasy. I think it was peripherally assassin fantasy. I think it was thief fantasy. And what I want to do is almost make a better lead-in for that, where I can just go, it's a gang of thieves. And then as the series goes on, you see that, oh no, that they're evolving. And then, of course, there's the last Dawn of Assassins book. So I'd like to get those done. If I can get, because I think I've got the first act of Dawn of Assassins 4 as well. So I've done bits on both of those and kind of come to a halt. So yeah, I'd like to get those done. My priority is getting the Ravenglass Throne done. And then, of course, I want to see how things go with this Ravenglass Legends, these first 3 books. I've got basically a trilogy out by January, so I can do more with the marketing. I might even release a box set of the first 3 books later on in the year. If they do well, then I will be doing, obviously, more in that series. I plan on doing at least 1 more book in that series, but I'd like to do a longer series. I really like the story that I've got in my head is probably at least 7 books, but it's a business, and I've got to remind myself of that, because the series, the reviews are really good. 4.6 stars on Amazon, there are 100 reviews. That's really good, but it doesn't sell very well. Even though it's a really good series and I love it, but it doesn't sell very well. So if for some reason people see that there's 3 books and then go, oh, I'll give that a try, then that'll be awesome. And hopefully I can get a bit more momentum with that series. If not, I will do book 4 and wrap it up, but I'd like to do longer. So this is me basically saying, please buy my book if you're on the fence, because I really want to carry on with it. So yeah. So anyway, it's been a good year in terms of productivity and getting stuff done. But next year, I really need to kind of double down a bit more on the business stuff. Probably do, like I've been doing a course here and there by Matthew Holmes, which is all about marketing and things like that. So just kind of refreshing that stuff, because I think a lot of the techniques and strategies that I use are probably a few years old now, probably a bit outdated. So just refreshing on that. So have a great new year. Hope your festive season is going well. So until next time, cheerio.